Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're doing our typical Wednesday Patreon picks, where I ask one of my patrons what I should check out, and they let me know. No questions asked, no exceptions. They give me a song, and I do it. Today's pick comes at us from Jet Black. It says that I should be checking out the band Windhand, the song Grey Garden. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I don't know if this this has to just be coincidence, right? This is yet another band that has been picked by a Patreon that isn't in the list yet, that no one else has requested. I think that just talks about speaks for the benefit of the Patreon Picks program, because so often we still get some really amazing music that somehow no one else has suggested yet. And I know there's a lot of music, like, you can't get everything requested, but I just think it's cool that almost week after week the same phenomenon happens. Alright, so let's check this band out. That is a very grungy, dirty tone on that guitar. I'm really digging this. Like, musically it reminds me of Doom, but vocally it reminds me of, like, 90s grunge. Nice little fill down the kit there. You know, for some reason I just thought this is what Nirvana would sound like as a metal band. Extremely repetitious, though. I think it's more about the feeling, the emotion of the music. Lots of reverb on this. Yeah. Yeah. Those off-kilter snares, the hits on 4. Actually, I take it back. It's the end of 4. I was counting double time there. Yeah, it's the end of 4, though. The offbeat hit. Yeah, I really dig that. Gives it a little bit of drag there at the end. That guitar tone just hits. Who needs a bassist when your guitar tone's so deep? Golly. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much the vibe I'm getting. Is what if Nirvana but metal? Although it's missing that the hard edge that comes out in the grunge is evident in the guitar rather than the vocals, though. All right, autoplay turned off. We're not going to deal with that again. Yeah, so I really dig a lot of what's going on. I mentioned that it's like musically it reminds me of doom metal, but vocally it reminds me of grunge, and I think that is kind of the perfect way that I can really describe that. It has a lot of the heavy, slow moving, really oppressiveness that doom brings to the table. But it's because of the way the vocals are delivered to me, this comes off as rock, not as metal. I think this is a very accessible song, and saying accessible and metal in the same sentence doesn't really. I don't really see the two really being on the same terms very often. Um, yeah, that's kind of in my brain. That's how I classify metal. Is if I could see it on a radio station, mainstream, and this I could see on a mainstream, rock station. Um, so it's kind of weird for me to say that this is metal, but like I said, there are a lot of doom metal inspirations in here that I heard. Um, but the vocalist is always kind of real nonchalant with his singing. It never really gets to the harsh vocals that we've heard in some of these doom tracks. It doesn't get into the harsh vocals that grunge is kind of known for, where they do a lot of vocal compression to get a grittiness to their voice. The vocalist is just really chill. Um, they do have a very, like, there's an interlude in the middle of the song between the two heavy tracks. The song is really written like a sandwich, where you have your two heavy tracks, and then in the middle you have, a nice reprieve from the oppression to kind of give it context or to remember, like I said, when the heaviness came back in and the guitar came back in by itself to introduce the heavy section back, I was reminded just how dirty and gritty that tone was. And that is the purpose of these, of contrasting sections, is to kind of get your brain to forget what you had been listening to, so when it comes back, it has that same impact. The more you listen to something, the less impact it's going to have. And having the little breaks is a good chance for your mind to reboot, so that when it comes back, it can hit just as hard. And it allows the end of a 6-minute song to still have the same impact and impression that the beginning does, even though it's 6 minutes on. So yeah, they used that to great effect. I really liked the middle section. It had a nice kind of like spacey, floatiness to it, even though it didn't have what I would say be like traditional spacey sound effects, like when you would think of like 70s prog, and you get those spacey synth sounds. Um, but it still had this otherworldly atmosphere to it. So that was pretty cool. Not really otherworldly, maybe just like limitless. No gravity. I don't know. I hope these are. I hope somebody understands what I'm talking about here. It's getting hard for me to put this into words. Um, yeah. Overall, there isn't really much to break down about the music. It is extremely repetitive. Um, there's really only one or two chord progressions, and if there are two, the one progression is used for a vast majority. It's pretty much every part with the the heavy guitar tone to it. Um, the chorus and the verse sound very similar in their progressions. They might have minor deviations, but there really isn't much of a change between them, at least maybe not within the interchord relationships. That's really what I listen to. Like I've said before, I don't really have an ear to pull out exact chord names just by listening. I tend to listen to relationship between chords that I can hear, the distance between chords and the changing of chord qualities, stuff like that. And the song has a very samey feel to it in the chord progressions. Um, but yeah, it does what it intends to do, though. It's more of an emotive song than a technical song. It puts your brain and your mind into a specific state of this heavy oppressiveness. It's what I've said about pretty much every doom band we've checked out in the past, that they're usually not hyper technical, but it's about putting you in this mindset and just feeling the oppression of the music and falling into that. And these guys do a really good job of that. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's what I got to say about wind. Why is this? Why am I blanking out on this? Windhand. Um, I enjoy it. It's good stuff. Like I said at the beginning, I really enjoy. I think I really like doom metal, but I haven't really enjoyed the vocalists for doom metal so far. Um, I do like this though. There's a bit of a catchiness to the lyrics that I think owes a bit to grunge. Assuming this came out after grunge, I don't know. This could have been what sparked grunge, for all I know. But anyways, it has that. There's a bit of poppiness in, not poppiness, like catchiness though, in the lyrics. There's a little bit of pop writing in the lyrics that gives it a bit of a catchy hook to it. Um, and then that coupled with just the heaviness, yeah, I can get behind that. As usual, this isn't something I would go out of my way and listen to all of the time. There is definitely a time and a place when I want to feel crushed by music. Um, but yeah, I could see myself getting into these guys and checking out more of their work. So yeah, good request, suggestion, good pick, Jet Black. I enjoyed this. This is where you guys come in, though. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about Windhand. and maybe if you've heard about them, maybe some other tracks I should check out. While you're down there in the comments, you can like, subscribe, and ring the bell. All three of those things help the channel out immensely. You can check out my Twitter or Patreon links. They are in the description. If you join the Patreon, you can get in line to give me a Patreon pick as well. You'll be featured on one of these Wednesdays or Saturdays when I do that. You'll also be eligible to vote for upcoming themes and bands, and it's only $1. So if that sounds like a good deal to you, then go ahead, head on over to the Patreon and join up. All right, so that concludes today. Tomorrow we will come back at 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Penultimate episode of this week's theme of non-metal stuff. I look forward to seeing all you guys in the comments and having all these fantastic conversations down there. Some really cool stuff happening in the comments. And so until then, you guys stay safe out there. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.